with jiu-jitsu, like I guess that's happening now. You know, like there's the traditionalists that say, this is how it's done. This is what you do. And then there's the innovators, the people that are changing the game.
100%. That's exactly what's happened.
Hey guys, Coach Eli here. Today we're here with Oliver Hyde. He's got an extensive martial arts history in jiu-jitsu, a bit of Muay Thai. He's got a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. So what got you into martial arts?
If I can think back, I was thinking about. I remember I used to really like Van Damme.
Yeah.
Van Damme back in the early 90s, watching him, and I lived in Samoa for probably about 3 years when I was young, and when it used to piss down rain, I'd go out and pretend I'm Van Damme in like Universal Warrior, and watching Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee and stuff. I just thought, oh wow, like I was just really drawn to martial arts.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? The natural movement of it. Obviously, being a boy, it was sort of like it was already sort of something ingrained instinctually that drew me to martial arts.
Yeah, definitely. So you're out there kicking coconut trees, trying to do the splits on the car, things like that.
Oh man, I forced myself to do those side splits.
Yeah.
No, I reckon I almost got there. But,
Yeah.
No, inspired by Van Damme and that sort of martial arts. Movies and stuff.
What took you? So you also have a thing called Primal Fitness. You want to explain sort of what that is?
Well, guerrilla tactics.
Guerrilla tactics.
Guerrilla tactics is my business with a primal fitness philosophy, I suppose, which I started this. It was about in 2011. I started it because when I got into the fitness industry, and I was at personal training at these sort of domestic gyms and stuff. I could see that there was something not right. That there was these machines, and people were using machines and lining up in the middle of winter to wait for the doors to open so they could jump on a treadmill or a cross trainer, and I just it didn't look right. I thought they looked like mice in the wheel, and I thought, fitness is about getting out there. This is before, this is before those races with obstacles and all that sort of stuff. This is before all that, and I just thought, nah, man, like it's not about how much you can lift, and fitness isn't about that sort of part of it. It's about if you had 2 seconds flat to get the cat or get your baby because there's a tsunami coming, could you get up? Could you scale that place for survival? You know what I mean? Just like that. Are you fit like that? If a bear jumps out of the woods at you in Colorado or something, could you? Would you know what to do? Could you get yourself to safety? I started to think along those lines. So I started to sort of pick, get inspired by connecting to nature, and then I sort of started developing more on, so there needs to be a holistic approach to health and fitness. It's not just, protein powders and, pre-workouts and pumping iron and stuff. So there's got to be, so with guerrilla tactics, the philosophy is you connect to nature. A lot of barefoot stuff.
I was going to say grounding and things like that.
Grounding, so climbing, running, jumping, being in nature, being diverse with your training, basic just human movement. It doesn't have to be strenuous or anything, but you have to be eating right. You have to be eating clean, whole foods, so stuff like fruit and veggies and stuff from nature.
If it comes in a packet, maybe question it.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Basic breath work, learning how to connect to your breath, and there's all sorts of different breath work exercises and stuff. So you got your primal fitness, your nutrition, basic yoga and breath work sort of stuff. Then you've got self-defense, right, which is good for youth and empowerment and anti-bullying, and knowing that you've got just keeping your sword sharp so you never have to use it, sort of thing. And then there's a sort of strong element of goal setting and leadership principles. So being able to create your own sort of future through setting goals and achieving goals, and then becoming a leader. So, and I sort of condensed all that into a program which I would run at schools and sort of.
That's really cool, man.
And I did start to tend to focus more towards youth. It's kind of like an early prevention sort of thing.
100%.
To try and all the stuff that we're not teaching kids at home or parents aren't passing on, and and it's those sort of like survival instincts, survival methods ingrained into it as well. And
is this targeted towards young men or young women or both, or it doesn't really matter? Or
it's everyone, and anyone who's open to it. It's not. But I was passionate about targeting it towards young kids. So primary school and year 9's a pivotal sort of year where some kids can sort of steer, because they don't have good mentors. So it's basically a mentor. It's a mentor program with a lot of meat to it and structure. And
that's what I was sort of picking up on when you were talking about it, was that pivotal moment, like you said. When you said year 9, I was like, oh wow, I realised what I was doing in year 9, and that mentorship is so important in young kids, and having it seems like you have a holistic approach to sort of shaping the youth so that they're going to be in a better place tomorrow. And it sounds I'm really interested, actually. I want to hear more about it.
Absolutely, man.
You said there's a self-defense aspect to it. What is that sort of based on? Is there a certain system? Is there a certain sort of philosophy or something?
So it's, imagine kids who've never sort of put on gloves or hit pads or anything like that. Basically just teaching youth and people that they have they have a bubble that they can defend. They can stand up for themselves. But if someone's coming into your space, it's not cool. If you feel that you're being violated. So just even showing people basically how to protect themselves and also to strike out if someone's not getting out of their zone. So just basic sort of like hitting pads and getting them sort of to start feeling what it's like to defend yourself. And how empowering that can be.
Oh, it's so empowering.
And also the vent, if there's some, So self-defense in that sort of aspect. A lot of jiu-jitsu and the traditional, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, Gracie jiu-jitsu has self-defense systems. It is a big self-defense system.
It is,
really. And they're really big on self-defense. So how to stop an attacker in all sorts of situations. So
how long have you been training jiu-jitsu, just jiu-jitsu?
So I would say from the 1st of January 2013 was the day that I bought my first gi.
And that's written down, that's a...
Well, I just remember that day. Because before that I was sort of doing a little bit of I was into Muay Thai, for a couple of years I was really into Muay Thai. And then I went into to do a bit of MMA, just no gi sort of stuff, and sort of. And everyone's like, no, you got to get the gi, man. You got to. So I was like, I will. I'll get one. I'll get one. But I remember I walked past this shop in Melbourne, and I just said, oh, hold on, I'm just gonna have a look. And it was an MMA store in Elizabeth Street in Melbourne, and I went up and I ended up buying a gi for $100. And I never turned back. I just once I put it on, man, and I went and started, I was like, whoa, something, I suppose they call it the jiu-jitsu bug.
Yeah.
But I just remember thinking like, wow, there's something about this that really just drew me in. And I mean like washing my gi, folding it, getting it ready for, I was just like, wow, this is amazing, you know. I really like took pride in preparing my training bag and, you know, and, you know, meeting people in jiu-jitsu that just, at first you sort of think like, oh, who's this guy, you know? I'm sure I could like get this guy, and then some geek, you know, like rip my arms off, and just like tap me out, like, holy shit, this is a really powerful martial art.
Yeah, definitely.
So and I suppose it was the community feel as well that you get at a good jiu-jitsu school. So, you know, always, you know, I've been training with people for like 9 years, 10 years, and I still don't know their name. And I still don't know their name because once we're on the mat, we're all the same.
Yeah.
And I don't even, you know, some of them I don't know what they do. You know, they could be CEOs of big companies, or they could have just, they could have been in jail or whatever, but it doesn't matter.
It breaks down all barriers.
It breaks down all barriers.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's what, you know, that's a powerful aspect to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just, it's a continuum. You just, you know, you keep learning and you keep having light bulb moments. And, so I was really drawn to that, you know.
That's so cool. You know,
aspect of jiu-jitsu.
I really love that, because when I started training, I want to say 10 years ago, but it was probably actually longer. I just can't remember. It's just, you know, because I've had so much fun and met so many amazing people. But when I first started, not many people know this, but I was actually homeless when I first started, and I was living in my car, and no one knew what training. But when I went on the mat, I was on there with surgeons and these really smart sort of uni students and stuff, but on the mats, whatever happens outside didn't matter. Absolutely. You know, like I could come in, I could train, you know, and I was respected, and you know, you get in what you put in, you know what I mean? You get out of it what you put in. Yeah. And so when you're in there and you're giving it your all, and that shows more about your character than, you know, what your home life might be, or what the things that you're going through in your general life might be. And I think it's a great way to give you purpose. Like for me, that's what it was. Like I always wanted discipline. Like when I was a kid, I wanted to box, but you know, we weren't in a position to pay for that. So you know, when I got older, I wanted to go to the army. You know, I wanted that mentor that we were talking about before. You know, and I never got there. You know, so when I found martial arts, you know, I got that leadership skills. I got that mentor. I got that, you know, the reason to get up in the morning. Like I finally got to express myself and not feel bad about being violent, you know, not feel bad about wanting to just lash out, you know, like, you know, that's what I found with that. And I don't know, like, what do you think about, like, just coming to that part about, you know, having a place to be violent? I think for me, it was very much like, it was frowned upon. You're not meant to be violent. You're not meant to be aggressive and things like that. But here, it's okay to some extent. Like you're not trying to hurt anyone, but you get to let out that aggression. Say you punch in the bag, or
you know, growing like I was born in the '80s, and you know, a lot's changed in schooling and the education system. But it was kind of like there was this. You know, and I know America had wrestling and stuff like that at schools and stuff, which was beneficial for especially
100%,
young males and stuff. But in our curriculum, we didn't have any. You know, it was looked at as like, oh, that's violent, like Looney Tunes cartoons and stuff, violent and all this. And so I remember the first time that I started hitting pads, I would have been sort of 18 or something. 19, and I thought, whoa, where have you been all my life?
Yeah.
You know, like the vent that I felt, because I had anger issues and stuff like that, and obviously I some of my mentors weren't so positive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I sort of ended up sort of, the street thing and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
And a bit lost, coming from a broken family and all that sort of stuff. So when I did find that, it gave, and that sort of struck, that place you can be violent is very, very empowering.
Yeah.
And the vent that I felt and the empowerment that I felt and the something that had been missing, I felt in this sort of controlled, violent area. I could let that out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I've done programs in schools where I'm teaching this sort of self-defense element, and in sort of some of the rural schools, they're still a bit like, might be a bit violent, but we'll give it a go. But then we filmed how the kids reacted after it and how it could, it's like, it's hard to explain. You have to sort of see it. You have to, or feel it, to see the transformation that happens through martial arts training in a controlled, violent situation.
Yeah.
So that's really important, and I think it's really important for us as human animals to have a vent where we do have that sort of primal instinct, and we are emotional beings. We do get angry, we do get happy, and we've got to have a place where we can, a platform we can feel like it's okay to express that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Obviously. It's like we're more than welcome to express our happy feelings and in most cases our sad feelings, but we have a wide range of feelings. Sometimes we won't know how we feel, and finding that specific spot where it's, I guess, socially appropriate to express it is crucial. Because if you start suppressing all that anger and you don't let it out, it's like shaking up a Coke bottle, right? And you go,
absolutely. That's exactly what happens. So it's important, and a part of our journey as humans is for to look within and to learn our own sort of who we are.
And I think more importantly, to learn who we're not.
Exactly. Well, sometimes you've got to become who you're not to know who you really are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
But having that controlled, violent sort of area where you can express yourself, and even as an adult, it brings you back to feeling almost childlike.
Yeah.
There's an element of play to it as well.
Yeah.
Definitely. If you watch kittens sort of play, or chimpanzees, they looks like they're doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So it's just especially with jiu-jitsu, there's a very primal element to it that's sort of so natural.
Yeah.
It's just so natural.
Yeah. It's so natural to be folded up into little pieces. That's cool. So like with jiu-jitsu, like I have a little bit of knowledge about jiu-jitsu, and I train jiu-jitsu as well, but what do you think is probably the most important either philosophy or move or subject matter in jiu-jitsu that if you were to just be like single focused in your training, what should be the thing that you focus on most?
Well, jiu-jitsu is a system whereby a smaller opponent can overcome a larger opponent through technique and leverage and and submitting them, so putting them out of the game, stopping their attacker. But I suppose the big thing is getting comfortable in an uncomfortable situation.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be different, people of different sizes and weights and, strengths, and how you're going to use your jiu-jitsu against this person's going to be different on this person. And there really are so many facets to it that there's not really a single one most thing. There's many, and they keep presenting themselves. It's a continuum. It's like if you're playing guitar every day of your life, you don't get to 90 years old and you're like, yep, that's it, I just played the last chord, I know it all. It just keeps going. And that's what's so good about jiu-jitsu. But starting off as a white belt, you know, you're very stiff. It can be more dangerous fighting a white belt than 100%. A black belt, you know, because they're just raw instinct and gung-ho, you know, and that's when you can sort of...
all muscle and no technique, you know,
exactly.
Trying to force everything.
So you can get slammed or... But basically, the art of jiu-jitsu, you know, being able to defend or escape from a position that could potentially end bad for you, you know, and just get like that self-defense aspect, getting out of the situation. You know. I was always told the best self-defense is just running away, man. Get away from it, you know. But in jiu-jitsu, I suppose, being comfortable in an uncomfortable position and just being patient with it, you know.
There's a term that you hear a lot in jiu-jitsu. It's I felt like I was drowning. Can you sort of go into what that means and why you feel like that?
Well, when you've got, you know, like I'm not a massive guy, but when you've got someone that's, you know, 130 kilos, 120 kilos on top of you, and using that weight to pin you or to, you know, hold you down, and they're compressing your rib cage, and you're just like, you've got the ground and this monster of a person, and it doesn't even have to be a big person, just someone who can use their weight,
put it in the right place,
to hold you down, can be really, really sort of taxing, and especially because it's explosive, and then you sort of can slow down and explode again, and you might be 100% for a few seconds, and then so it's really sort of that intermittent sort of interval. Was it like fartlek training? Sort of like
like a hit workout.
Like a hit workout. You know what I mean? So when you've just exploded so hard, but then you get stuck in this position, and you've got someone crushing your airways, you know. You can feel like drowning. You know what I mean? And that's where you've got to sort of try and relax, because they can just cook you. You know what I mean? You're expending energy while they're not.
The most of the time they're just sitting there going.
And you know, there's the chest that comes from it, because depending on what your move is, they will move according to whatever you do. And vice versa. So
and this is where breath work is important, right?
100%. I still connect, you know, always remind myself, connect to your breath. Are you breathing? You know? Let's check into that. Let's sort of become conscious of how your breath is. Are you like gassing out because you're not breathing right? Well, then take a moment to connect back to that. Because that, you know, that's an aspect that will keep you alive.
And usually when you do that as well, like you sort of center yourself and you go, oh yeah, I can do this here. You know?
Exactly.
And you're sort of focused again.
Exactly. And there's so many aspects to it, but that's exactly right. There is an aspect where you can sort of gather yourself again and sort of go, okay, so check in, what's this, where am I, alright? How do I get out of this, or where am I going to go from here? And they might go that way. If they're going to explode that way, so I'm going to, you know, and then they go that way, you know. You constantly, it's so strategic, and it's such a thinking man, you know, and women's martial art. Very powerful for women.
Very.
Amazing for women. Watching women grapple and, you know,
all you have to do is go on YouTube and type in women taps bodybuilder or something like that, and something will pop up. You know, where a woman that's training jiu-jitsu just demolishes someone.
I've seen guys come in thinking, you know, like, what's his jiu-jitsu, like
Yeah,
massive guys, and
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
okay, go up against this
This
chick here,
Yeah.
and you just
Seventh grade
on
girl.
on the back,
Yeah,
and he's
yeah.
like,
Yeah, and then
And
they
you
walk
just-
out a bit deflated and you're like, I'm going to do
Absolutely.
that again.
I've seen that at more than one gym. Like
Yeah.
that happens every day.
Yeah.
Somewhere at a gym near you, that is happening. Like,
Yeah, 100%.
Chicks are weapons.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so
Yeah.
powerful for women as well. Because, for the self-defense aspect
Yeah.
of it,
Yeah.
you know.
And to not to want to paint an ugly picture, but if you're in guard position where you have someone between your legs trying to force themselves, you can be very effective in putting that person asleep or stopping them.
Absolutely.
One of my favorite positions is the guard, and it's a very vulnerable position to be in, especially if you're in that situation. And yeah, so look, I couldn't recommend jiu-jitsu more, if I'm honest. I think it's an amazing martial arts. In saying that as well, I think there's a lot to be learned from all martial arts. And if I'm really honest, even the ones that have sort of been discredited. I'm not talking like the Bushido ones. There might be one technique in Aikido that is just that missing piece to your puzzle, because we all play different games in our martial arts. And I'm always trying to learn something new. And at the moment, I'm experimenting with different styles and different stances, and trying to just sort of feel it out and find what works and what doesn't. And
Well, that's an intelligent approach, because you can pick bits and pieces from all the philosophies and bring them into your own sort of method. And I think that's what made Bruce Lee so amazing, with not just his martial art, but his philosophies around martial arts, and having that open mind, and deep water, and he took bits and then had his own notebooks, and so that's to me that's intelligent. It doesn't mean you have to. People put shit on all sorts of different martial arts. But if you're plucking bits that work for you, you're just expanding your repertoire. You're just putting it in your backpack and creating your own philosophy. And that's the thing with MMA.
That's why I love it.
Mixed martial arts. It's like you've got all sorts of interesting styles hybridized together.
You're not stuck to. You stand left leg forward, hands up, or you're not stuck to one thing.
And you come across coaches that go, you never do this, you don't do that. But then you see the best in the world doing that. But if you've got to use what you have, what feels right to you, you're going to use that, and you could be the master of that. But there's going to be people that say nah, you shouldn't do that because of this and that. But there's no fixed. This is why it's always expanding. There's people that come out with these crazy styles, and you can that never used. Was never done. No one ever used to do that. Now these guys are developing systems on doing that sort of stuff. So, and this is the thing with. If I talk about jiu-jitsu, is the Gracies, the Gracie family modified judo and jiu-jitsu, Japanese jiu-jitsu, into the Brazilian jiu-jitsu martial art, Gracie jiu-jitsu. Brought it to the world, and it was a powerful martial arts. A lot of people, from how much it's grown even since I started is massive. You know what I mean? It's growing. So there'd be a school in your town, almost every town in Australia, and also across the world. And there was a strict system and stuff. But now you've got guys like Eddie Bravo and stuff who's sort of taken it and went from the gi to the no gi sort of thing, and started sort of
bringing in rubber guard,
bringing in these new sort of techniques. And there was a bit of friction between the Brazilians and I suppose the Americans, because it's nah, it's Brazilian jiu-jitsu and it's going to be done like that. And he's look, I I haven't shat on jiu-jitsu. I've developed it.
Yeah.
And to me, that's evolution. That's you know, we've got to. It's change. Change is inevitable, and we've got to move with the change. You know what I mean? Yep. So you got these, and you know, in these days, it's all foot locking, and you know, there's this whole like no gis, like leg entanglement, foot locks, how to enter. You know, the John Danaher and
the Death Squad,
all his Death Squad. And, those guys are the best on the planet. These guys are smart guys. These, you know, the way they deliver their philosophies and stuff is beautiful. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
So, you know.
But if you don't adapt, you become stagnant, right? Like, I love the sort of visual and metaphor of like analogy of like, if you have a cup of water and you just let that stay exactly the way it is and don't move it, and over time it becomes stagnant. You shouldn't drink it, right? But if that water's rushing, you know, through a stream and it's removing all the particles, all the germs, all the dirt, all that kind of stuff, by the time it gets to the end, going through the sand and the rock and this and that, it's clean water. Yeah. You know, like, because of that process of, all right, well, this take this out, put this in, take this out, put this in, you know, like, I think that's why Bruce Lee was hated, right? Because he came over and he was changing Kung Fu and changing, when it was Wing Chun. Yeah, so he was changing all these things and making his own thing. And they're like, no, don't do that. You're not allowed to do that. And then you see those martial arts have been left behind. You've seen it with Taekwondo and karate. They didn't adapt. And some karate and that sort of did adapt with kickboxing. But, you know, like they're left behind the katas and the things like that. But, you know, do you think, like with jiu-jitsu, like I guess that's happening now, you know, like there's the traditionalists that say, you know, this is how it's done, this is what you do. And then there's the innovators, the people that are changing the game.
100%, that's exactly what's happening because it's so strategic and there's just like there's an escape for every attack and there's an attack for every, you know, defect, like counters, and just like there's just so many avenues. People smart as motherfuckers are looking at this martial art and going, well, how can we take it even further? Like guys that are like obsessed with it. What can we do with like the lapel? What other stuff can we do here? What other movement can we get in here? Is that old method, you know, can it be sort of overcome? Is there a better way to do it? If I put my foot here, what was it? You know, so and these guys are working on these new things, and then performing them on the world stage and like winning tournaments and stuff against the best in the world. So it's sort of the proof's in the pudding. And at the end of the day, man, it's human movement. So there's, you know, just to put a limitation on it and to say like, oh nah, you know, because of like tradition and you know, that I think it's you're putting a blockage on something that can be, you know, developed.
And your own personal,
like consciousness, you know, it can just expand. So to put a blockage on that because of tradition and the way it's traditionally done, and you don't do that for whatever reason. You got those people, those innovators that go, no, what if I do this? You know?
So I'm sure at once upon a time, Gracie's would have been considered those innovators, and people would be like, no, you can't change jiu-jitsu like that, you can't change judo like this, you know.
Absolutely.
And you know, and now it's happening there.
Absolutely.
You know?
So you're seeing it happening there. And you know, where's it going to go from here?
Oh man,
because you know, like these.
Look, I look at UFC 1 and they put everyone on the world stage. Like, all right, well, who is the best fighter? You know, and obviously jiu-jitsu is just like me. And then, you know, and like, and everyone's better because of it. You know, sometimes you say, I remember the first day we met, you know, sometimes you're the nail, sometimes you're the hammer.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
And you know, back in UFC 1, jiu-jitsu was the hammer. You know?
100%. That's what put it on the map.
100%.
Like everyone had never seen this, like, who's this guy in the gi, you know?
Yeah. And he wasn't big or anything. He wasn't like, you know, there were guys in there with sumo wrestlers.
There was beast in there, and it's just this sort of skinny Brazilian guy.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, he did what he did, and
Yep.
that showcased it to the world.
100%.
And since then, it's grown like wildfire.
Yeah. And and what I'm seeing in the UFC now is the Russian wrestlers, Sambo wrestlers,
Right.
and they are dominating.
Right.
And it's like, but the thing is, it's not very exciting or anything like that. It's like, it's not like they literally hold you down and put pressure on you and you can't get up. I don't see anyone having an answer to that. Like, I'm not saying there isn't an answer, but I'm saying where is the answer? Like, what is the answer? Like, I know that we were talking about before with holding pressure. Like, that's what it seems like. People are drowning under the pressure. Like Khabib, he would lock your legs up in like a sort of triangle and just hold you down, and there's nothing you can do
Against the cage and
Yeah.
stuff. And just,
yeah. Well, I guess what do you feel could be an answer to having that pressure just holding you down? Because like, I know when I'm up against someone that's got a lot of good pressure on me, I'm like, man, I am stuffed.
Well, that's like yeah. What you'd be trying to do is to create a little bit of space or to escape somehow. When you're sweaty and stuff, you might get a chance to, get your knee out or something like that. But I mean, that's the thing. What do you do when you've got a full-on apex predator doing their thing?
Yeah.
Like watching an animal take, like say a lion take down something smaller. Like it just.
Yeah.
What's the animal gonna do?
Yeah.
What's the what's the prey gonna do? So, I mean, there's just things evolve and things just get better and better, but it will always keep evolving.
Yeah. Because I see it just being incorporated into jiu-jitsu to some degree as well. Like, because it's like it's grappling, right? It's on the ground wrestling. That's doing it. So like I see certain techniques and philosophies being implemented into the new jiu-jitsu.
100%, and it is.
And vice versa, like if they go down that road too, which I'm sure they do,
Absolutely. A lot of jiu-jitsu guys will wrestle.
Yeah.
To get that sort of aspect of it into their jiu-jitsu game.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I mean, it's grappling, it's on the ground.
Yeah.
Even your sambo stuff, like, again, looking at all the grappling arts and incorporating them into one system.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because you might learn that one piece that you're just like, I needed this to improve this.
That's it. So in in
Yeah.
sambo we sort of do this, and in jiu-jitsu we usually do this. But if you're depending on your situation, you've got it in your backpack to use.
Yeah, 100%.
So
it's that constant, never-ending improvement. That was one of the philosophies at my old gym was constant, never-ending improvement.
Yeah.
And I thought it was so funny. So there's a guy on YouTube. He's a bit of a joke. Jake Mace. So he's a very effeminate. I want to say Kung Fu, Wing Chun, something along those lines. Some questionable techniques.
Yeah.
But one thing he did show me when I watched it, and I was like, oh, that could work. And that was, he threw the jab, but then that natural movement of a hammer fist after it. And I was like, I'm going to try that. Did it, worked, continue to do it, works, still do it, works.
Right.
And then so like even to the point where I started trying to develop power on that hammer fist. You can't do it in boxing, it's illegal. But, going boom on the bag and then just like bang, and just, and because what happens is, if you go low, tuck the hands, bang, and just big hammer fist to the side of the head,
100%.
And this is from someone who's not very credible, like, sorry man, but some questionable things out there on the internet, and but I'm like, that little thing there, and it was like, But
see, that's you plucking. That's you plucking something that could work for you, and you've tried it and it works. So
Yeah.
and you telling me right now, it's like, well, yeah, it's a movement.
Yeah.
So if that's working, you know, and
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Like you breaking the sort of traditional
Yeah.
ideologies and stuff is how you're gonna evolve.
Yeah. 100%.
Again, we are just humans, and it's just movement and combat, or you know, these philosophies can be expanded on,
Yeah.
just like anything in life.
Yeah. 100%.
So that, you know, I mean, to me, when you went through it, and then
Yeah.
you know, there's like old knife
Yeah.
moves and shit
Yeah.
like that. Like, oh, it's very Steven Seagal or something,
Yeah,
I suppose. But
Yeah.
that guy fucked people up, man.
Yeah.
You know?
And look, I think it's the second kata I learned in Shadokan was one of the movements is a lower block and then a hammer fist.
Right.
So, boom, boom, right? And so I sort of like already knew that movement as well, but it's a very similar thing, right? Instead of, you know, blocking down there, you know, but
Well, there's a guy I can't remember, this American guy doing all this Wing Chun stuff.
yeah.
I saw it the other day. It's probably well known. I think he said something about him training with Bruce Lee.
Is he super aggressive?
No, he was just like, you know, he was just using all this
Yeah.
stuff, and if you punch there, he's like, you know, knock the elbow out, boom, boom, got one up. He was just so fluid, and he was talking while he was like, these guys were attacking. You know, you see bullshit ones where they're like, these guys were coming at him, and he's like, so like he trained the movements so well that he was just instinct, like the way he could move it, and imagine having that shit under your belt.
Yeah.
Plus boxing, plus jiu-jitsu, like that's
learn what you can, you know, like
exactly.
Tony Ferguson does that.
Right.
The fighter, he gets on the dummy, the wing chun dummy, you know, and there's heaps of videos of him doing it, you know. And, Anderson Silva does it as well. So yeah, like it's funny that, you know, although, you know, you can joke about a lot of the sort of, wow, I guess, looking at it now, like thinking about it, it's like a lot of the old traditional arts haven't lasted the test of time, not because they're not effective, but just because they've been, we've developed past them, you know. It's like, and like a lot of them stayed in the past and they didn't adapt and evolve, you know. And now they're somewhat of a joke, but you know, maybe one day there'll be two guys sitting here, our descendants sitting here, and they're saying, "Can you believe these guys did this?"
Imagine that. Because I remember when I was sort of grade 1 and 2, like I wanted to do karate. That was the thing.
Yeah.
The kids doing karate. You know, and it was like, that was it. There was no boxing or where I was. And I remember my mum picking me up one day from school, because that morning I was like, get me into karate, and I'm so excited, I'm going with karate, and she goes, I didn't put you in karate, I put you in this thing called gymnastics.
Oh no.
My heart sunk into my ass, man. I'm like, what? Gymnastics?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm so glad that my mum put me in gymnastics, because it gave me this amazing base and for my movement and awareness of you know, strength and you know, just awareness of movement of my body and stuff. So I suppose I'm sitting here now glad that I did gymnastics and not karate. But basically what I'm saying is that was the shit then, karate. Now it's like shit that, or you know, there was taekwondo and karate at the time. It was, and it's like
the sound effects helped as well.
Well, the philosophy of it's good, but it wasn't effective if it had to be used, you know, in a real situation, you know. So imagine, you know, 20 years from now, people going, oh man, fuck, jiu-jitsu, like, shit doesn't work, man. What? They're doing crouching tiger, hidden dragon stuff. They're like, jiu-jitsu, they used to just stay on the ground.
Why don't you fly?
But I mean, another thing I had a little bit of a play with was the Krav Maga.
Yeah.
And that is like, wow, that's taking the shit to an elite level of like kill or be killed. What the fuck do you do in this situation? That's for real.
Yeah.
And that, we're training in like a groin guard, mouth guard, and like shoes and shit, like a real situation. And the drills were like, all right, you're walking down the lane and there's 4 guys with bats, one's got a knife, and they're coming at you. What do you do? And you're doing these drills, and you actually have to, really go hard at them and make it so realistic that if it ever did happen. And
well, that's the thing, right?
But
you
that's
have to pressure test everything.
Absolutely.
You have to put things in the fire to see, to get rid of any impurities.
There was one drill like we did. You're sitting in a car, and the instructor comes up and goes, "All right, I've just thrown a grenade in. What's the quickest way? You've got like 2 seconds to get out of this car. And you've got your belt on and stuff. There's ways to sort of unclip and what do you do? And this is another thing with martial arts. It's made me look at situations, and I role play. And I've read that Bruce Lee did this as well. It's like he would sort of say you're in a coffee shop waiting for your coffee, and you think, all right, those guys are sitting over there, they're over there. It's like, imagine this guy got up and what would I do from here? And then, how would I get out of that? And then, these guys are there, so all right. So, and this is what I teach my kids and anyone. So always be vigilant and always be aware of your surroundings.
Oh yeah.
Don't live in fear, but just be like, okay, so and I suppose there's assessing every situation. Who's around? What sort of body language are these people displaying over here? And you can start to read people. But that's another thing that I've picked up. You know what I mean? It's just assessing every situation, and then you go through sort of role plays in your head, like what if that happened, or I've got that weapon there, and just.
I was thinking about just now. I don't know, a few years ago now, I was training and all that kind of stuff, and I had that mindset. Still sort of do. Like, I'm very aware of who's around me and sort of like any threat or anything. Especially now that I've got a baby, like, oh man, my instincts are like, But I remember I was at a work training thing, like a team building training thing, and they got a guy named Atlas to come in. Now, similar to what you do with guerrilla tactics, it was very Primal Fitness and things like that, movement.
I know Atlas.
You know Atlas?
I know him,
yeah. So
Atlas Talisman.
Yeah. So we're in this group training thing, and he gets us to look in the eyes of someone.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there looking at my friend Fletch. He's looking at me, and we just start crying.
Yep.
Just bawling our eyes out. And I don't know what it was, but I felt like I was just living in fear of being attacked. And in saying that, like, I have a past, and a lot of my past is still around, and I still see a lot of the things, people from my past, and it's not like there's zero threat, but in saying that, like, I have no reason to be scared, but I felt like for the first time I was able to just be afraid, and just let it out. And I forgot where I was going with this, but I don't know, like, I felt so different, like, from doing that. I felt like I was braver, because we were talking before about like not letting that anger out and just sort of like cope with it, right? I feel like that's what it was, because I've always been so on edge, and I guess a lot of it as well was I spent a lot of time homeless on the street, so I had to be very vigilant. And letting that fear out is a thing, right?
100%. You let your guard down. You're vulnerable, and that's being real.
Yeah.
Where You know, another thing with men, especially ingrained early into us, we shouldn't cry. We should just be, suck it up and stuff.
Suck it up, princess.
We're emotional beings.
Yeah.
We are men, and we cry, and we feel vulnerable, and we feel fear, and we feel all those emotions and stuff. So a lot of the time we've learnt to sort of grow a thick skin, or to put a facade up, or a mask, or to not even like consciously trying to sort of not reveal a part of us that because it's not accepted. Where it's like, hang on, what the fuck? That's like, where did that come from? What's happened for us to sort of go that way? And, and I feel that's where a lot of trauma, drug and alcohol abuse, and domestic violence and all that sort of stuff comes from these deep things in us as men, and I'm sure women too, but especially men, that we've lost something, and that eye gazing thing that has been going around a bit is, I haven't done it myself, but I've heard how powerful it is. To reveal parts of you that has been, and again, like I said, you might not be conscious of it, but it's not until that happens you're like, something's shifted. Become aware of something.
It's because you're so brave and so courageous. You try to be so brave and so courageous, and for me, it's like being that protector, especially like we're talking about having kids and stuff now, and
100%.
And being a martial artist, I guess you have a certain expectation sort of on you as well of, if shit goes down, like you're the person that is going to have to step up, and protect the ones that can't protect themselves, or whatever it is, I
always think like a true warrior, and you come across them every now and then, and you just feel their energy. They are capable of like doing damage, or they are weapons, but they're so balanced with their emotional. They're able to cry. They're able to feel. I suppose they're balanced in their feminine and masculine sort of energies, and that's fucking powerful.
I was about to say it is really powerful.
Do you know what I mean? And that's what I suppose a real man should be. Is just balanced. And honest to yourself. Being open, and vulnerable, and however it is you're feeling, to be letting yourself know it's okay to feel like that.
100%.
And that makes you stronger. It's not weaker. Do you know what I mean?
I came to a realization somewhere along the line that I'm going to show my emotions regardless. And the reason I thought that was because not because I was weak or I couldn't control them or anything like that, but I thought to myself, well, what's the worst that's going to happen? I can fight.
That's what I mean. Like when you know in yourself what you're capable of, those sort of things drop away.
Like there was no more reason to. One, I became very calm, cool, collected. I stopped trying to prove myself to everybody. And so I stopped getting into fights, which was weird. Because like I learned how to fight, but then all of a sudden I'm not getting into fights. So I'm sure a lot of people have that story as well.
Me too, exactly.
So but it's incorporating those different aspects of your life, not running from them, because when was the last time, like as a guy, like you felt comfortable enough to express being scared, going into a fight, like professional fighters and that, like, man, if someone tells you they're not scared, they're lying. I'm just going to answer that door, and but give me 1 sec. We better wrap it up, bro. Because we've got open mats now. Thanks for coming on.
No worries, thank you.
So where can we find you? Let them know.
Okay, so Guerrilla Tactics, Instagram, guerrillatactics.com.au is the Instagram name. I've got Guerrilla Tactics on Facebook. That's probably the main places.
Yeah. I'll chuck it down in the description below. So thanks for coming on, man. Awesome chat on jiu-jitsu, modern martial arts and traditional martial arts and philosophy and all that kind of stuff. And I think we touched on so many different topics. And it was such a pleasure to talk to you, man. I hope we can do it again, bro.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, man.
Anytime.
Thank you very much, brother.
Thanks, bro.
Cheers, man.
All right.
I love telling stories and passion for making people laugh. A simple task for a class clown with a fickle past. Short stories and poetry focus my gaze. I love the bad substances drove me away. Now I owe it to say that the last 4 years I lost some brain cells and then I lost more peers. I took some time overseas to sort my mind out. Took some time out in the word and now it's time to let the rhymes out. You don't know how I got my style.